Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a mini series check-in. So I saw this video over on Angela from Literary Science Alliance's channel where she talks through over the past few months what series she's finished, what series that she's working on and that she started, and some series that she's planning to start in the near future. So I thought this was a good idea to keep myself accountable for finishing series and to see where I'm at, and I really liked her motives for doing it and the way she said that if she's not been working on a series for the past few months then it might help her reprioritise it and put it back into the docket. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm just going to use that idea, Angela, and steal that from you and do it for myself. So I thought I would talk you through the series that I've read for the first 3 months of the year. It's still the middle of March, so this month isn't quite over yet, but the next few books I'm thinking of reading are standalones, so I'm not too worried about that. I have actually finished quite a few series this year already. I'm so proud of myself. I have finished 6 series. Go me! I'm very proud of that. 6 series in the first 3 months, that's 2 series a month roughly, although a lot of these I did in January because I did a whole reading vlog where I just finished series, so I will link that if you want to see me being a completionist. Just to talk you through, I have finished my reread of the first 3 books in the Chronicles of Ixia series. So this is the original trilogy, starting with Poison Study, then Magic Study, and then finishing with Fire Study. So I read all 3 of these in the past 3 months. I've been reading 1 book a month. I'm buddy reading this with Vish from Books with V and our friend Sam. So we've been having a really great time rereading this series. Then after these 3 books, it breaks off into a spin-off series, which is the Glass series. And then for the final 3 books in the whole overarching chronicles, it goes back to these characters. But I sort of count it as 3 separate trilogies. That's what it is in my head anyway. So this original trilogy is finished, and then the Glass series is on the docket to be started in April. And we will be keeping on going with this series, but the Glass series is completely new to me. I've not read it before, but yeah, I really enjoyed my reread of this. These are such solid YA books and I would strongly recommend picking them up, especially if you really like Throne of Glass. I feel as though if you like that series then you might like this. There's a lot less romance in this than there is in that, but I feel in the terms of the way that it is written and the themes, it has some similarities. I would say that these books are adult books but written in the style of YA. So they have adult themes but you can read them really quickly because of the writing style. So yeah, I'd really recommend picking up this series. I also finished my reread of the Mistborn series. So I finished The Hero of Ages and oh my god, I loved this reread. It was so good. And the thing is, I'd forgotten so much. I read this back in 2015, so 6 years ago, and it was so good. I had so much fun rereading this series. So if you haven't read the Mistborn series, I would strongly recommend picking it up because it is Sanderson I'd say at his best. And yeah, I just absolutely loved it. And the thing is, all the way through I was I remember the ending. I remember how this ends. I did not remember that ending. Abby, what happened to your memory? How did you forget the ending? I'd half remembered it. So I went through the whole reread of the series going, well, I know how this ends. Mind blown, mind completely blown. And it was such a good reread. The audiobooks I would strongly recommend, at least for reread. I just could not stop listening to them. So much fun. I also finished A Vow So Bold and Deadly, so the 3rd book in the Cursebreaker series. I overall enjoyed this series. The first book is definitely the strongest for me, but I was happy enough with the way that this concluded. So I think I gave it a 3.5 stars. I was happy with it. It didn't quite live up to my expectations because, I just really liked that first book. And then I found that although the 2nd and 3rd book was satisfying, they didn't quite satisfy me in the same way as that first book. But I'm very happy to have finished this. Another series that I finished is the Ember in the Ashes series. So I reread the 3rd book and then I finished the series with the 4th book, which was just released in December, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this series. I have a whole should you read the Ember in the Ashes series review video up on my channel, so I will link that. Overall, I had a great time reading this. I think it's a very solid YA series. I'd say it leans on the older side of YA, especially as the books go on, but I think that Sabater here did a very good job of wrapping up the series. I'd say that this is a really satisfying conclusion, and I was really happy with it. So very satisfied to have finished this one. I continued, and I guess I'm calling it finished because I'm not going to continue on with the series, with The Archive of the Forgotten by AJ Hackworth. I absolutely loved the first book in this series. I loved it to pieces, but I was so disappointed in this that I'm now writing the series off and calling it finished. And I'd say if you want to read it, just read the first book. That, in my personal opinion, I haven't seen like other people's reviews of the second book, but it was a big disappointment for me, and I do talk about it in my February wrap up, all the disappointments, why I was so upset with this. Yeah, I'd say just read the first book, just read the first one. The first one is so good, and it does sort of wrap up, so you don't have to feel as though you would have to continue. So yeah, that one is now another series that I'm counting as finished. And then another series where I just read the whole lot and I completely binged it. I just could not stop reading the series. I was just like, I read the first book and I just thought, you know what? I had plans. I could have read these other things, and I thought, nah, let's just read the whole thing. And that is the Divine Cities series. So starting with City of Stairs, then City of Blades and City of Miracles, all by Robert Jackson Bennett, who I have read before and previously enjoyed his Foundryside series, and I'm waiting impatiently for the third book. But I really enjoyed this Divine City series. For me, I think it just got better and better. Like, the first one has a bit of clunky world building at the beginning, and then it just got so good in the second and third book. I think the third book's my finish. Like, it was such a satisfying conclusion to this series. It was so well done. And each book you're following, you've got a different main character. So in the first one, you are following the main character Shara, and then you're following side characters from this book in this second and third book. And I really liked how all the characters were older. Everything was done over a period of time, so there were big time jumps between these books. I really liked the magic system. Like, you're following, it's in this world which the gods are now like deceased, and you have miracles like that the gods had done in this world, and like these cities are falling apart because they were like built on the miracles of the gods. And it was a really interesting world building, and the system that it was all built on was really interesting, and in some aspects quite dark. I'd say that there's threads of horror elements through each of these books, which I really enjoyed. I'm not much of a horror reader, but I really enjoyed these elements in these books. So yeah, I would really recommend this. I think it's very underhyped, and I think more people should read this, and I had a great time with it. I have a whole review of this series up on my channel if you're interested in it, so I will link that as well. And then moving on to series that I have started in these past few months. I started the Stormlight Archive with The Way of Kings, and why was I waiting on this? I loved it so much. Such a great series. I mean, it took me a little while to read this because, I mean, it is 1,000 pages, but I also just couldn't stop reading it. Like, I loved my time reading this book. Like, although it is super chunky and there are so many words per page, I had a great time with this, and I loved like spotting little Easter eggs between the cosmate. I had so much fun. Like, I had fun with the plot, and I had fun with these characters. Kaladin, love Kaladin, and Shalon. Down and up, I'm a bit on the fence with. Like, he's fine, but he's no Kaladin, he's no Shalon. So that's where I'm at currently with them all. And so I really enjoyed their plot in those aspects, but I actually as well really enjoyed trying to piece things together, because I read all of Mistborn Era 1, Elantris and Warbreaker, so I felt like I went in with like a good like grounding block on the cosmate. I now really want to reread Elantris because I read it so many years ago, and I feel like the more you go in with a fresh head on the rest of the cosmate, the more you can get out of this. Yeah, I had so much fun with this. I believe they're re-releasing Words of Radiance in September in hardback, I believe, and that's when I will continue with the series. Like, I'm waiting for the next book in hardback, because I currently have this one in hardback and I have Rhythm of War in hardback, but I don't own the second and third book, and currently they're only available in paperback in these UK editions. So I'm waiting for the re-release of the next hardback before I continue on, because I'm not having like the first and fourth book in hardback and the second and third in paperback. No, that just would not do. So yeah, I'm very excited to continue with this, but it won't be for a few months. Another series that I've started is The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker, and I don't think I will be continuing with the series. It was fine. I think I've literally just read this and it was fine, and I will talk about it more at the end of the month in my wrap up for March, but it was just fine. It was fine, and which is really disappointing to say, that I think it was a 3-star. And yeah, so I don't think I'll be continuing with it. I don't. I'm gonna let my thoughts like process a bit more, but I don't think I will be continuing with this series, unfortunately. The final series that I have started in the past few months is the Of Blood and Bone series by John Gwynne. And John Gwynne, favourite author, like absolutely love his books. So I read all of the Faithful and the Fallen series, as you can see behind me, and then I have picked up his other trilogy, which starting with A Time of Dread and then A Time of Blood. And I completely binged these first 2 books. I read the first one and I couldn't stop and went straight into the second one because it was just so good. Like, so good. I think John Gwynne is going to be, if I need a book, if I'm at a time in my life where I've had like a bad run of books, where, you know, you've been having quite a few 3 stars, I will always have faith that John Gwynne will give me a 5-star book, because literally everything he has written has been 5 stars for me. Apart from the first book, Malice, which I gave like 4.5 stars, but everything else since then has been 5 stars. So I feel as though he is just like a safe bet for if I am needing an amazing book. So I read the first 2 books in this series, love them, love his writing style, love his characters, love the way he builds his worlds. And this is like set 130 years after the Faithful and the Fallen series, and you're following like how the events in that series have become history. So really interesting. I would say you have to read the Faithful and the Fallen first before you get to these, but I thoroughly enjoyed these. And so one of the books that I definitely have to be continuing in the next few months is A Time of Courage, and I don't know why I've not got to this yet. I've just been so busy with other books and I've hardly been reading. I've had a very rough reading month in March. So sad, so sad. But yeah, I am really excited to continue and finish this trilogy over the next few months. And so this is like top of the list, must read, must get to this, because I'm so excited to get to this and finishing the series. I've heard that this is like the best one in the trilogy, and I mean, I love the first 2 books, so I don't know how they can get any better. But like, judging by John Gwynne's works, he is very good at conclusions to series. Like, he really like just gives you the satisfying conclusion that you want. There is no disappointments in the end. Like, especially with Wrath, like that was such a satisfying conclusion. I like hugged that book for 5 minutes after finishing it, or maybe more than, maybe like 10 minutes, because I was like upset because it was this end of the story with those characters, but I was so satisfied with it. But I was like, characters have died, characters have lived, and I'm like, oh, you know, you just like, I finished a book and that just made me, so it have so many emotions. You just want to hug it. So I'm hoping that this gives me like those same emotions. And the same with A Shadow of the Gods. So this is his new release coming out in May, and obviously I'm going to be starting that series, and obviously I'm going to be reading it, and then I'm going to be so sad because I have no John Gwynne left to read, and that's going to make me like depressed for a little bit, because for the past like quite a few months I've always had a John Gwynne book on hand, and now I'm not going to have a John Gwynne book on hand, and that's going to make me like so sad. So sad. So that is like on the docket for the next few months, working through the rest of John Gwynne's books. A few other books and series that I am hoping to continue on and start in the next few months are, so my plans are, I will be reading the Glass series, so that's the continuation from the Chronicles of Ixia, and I'll be reading 1 book a month, so 1 in April, May and June, and that will finish off the Glass series. So that is the plan with Vish and Sam. I am also hoping to read Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. So this is the 2nd book in the Last Hours trilogy, and this just came out, and part of me is feeling like reading this really soon, because I need something to spark my reading again. Like, I have been so in a funk with it, and I feel as though this might help me like get out of that funk, because I feel as though it could just be like that fun YA angsty fantasy that I might need to like reignite my love of reading. I mean, I've always had my love of reading, but like I just feel a bit in a funk. So this is on the docket. I am thinking of maybe rereading King of Scars and then reading Rule of Wolves, which comes out at the end of March. So I'm thinking that I could I'm not sure if I'm going to reread this or just try and find a summary of it, and then like being able to finish the duology. You know, I love completing things, so as soon as I finish Rule of Wolves, then that's another series complete. And I generally enjoy Leigh Bardugo. I feel as though she's never been like my favourite author. Like, I feel as though a lot of her books are like 4 stars for me, so I'm just excited to like, you know, continue on in the Grishaverse. I am also really excited to continue on in the From Blood and Ash series. So the 3rd book is coming out in April. Definitely going to be reading that. Definitely going to be continuing on this series. If you haven't seen already, I love this series. I have a whole gush video on it because I absolutely loved it. It's like a complete blend, 50-50 between fantasy and romance. If you love Sarah J Maas, I would recommend reading this book, because it really does like fulfill your need for Sarah J Maas content in your life. Like, it's just like it. It's so fun. It's so bingeable. I thoroughly enjoyed this. So if you need more Sarah J Maas type books in your life, I would strongly recommend this. And yeah, I'm really excited to continue on with the series. I've got quite a few friends that are all caught up with this series now, and we're all going to be reading the third book together, and I'm so excited to like gush with them about it. And the second book ended on such a cliffhanger, and I'm like, yes, can't wait to find out what happens. Other books, that series that I need to continue. I started the Queen of Renthia series in December, and I need to continue with that. So it's been a few months now. I just need to fit it in. I think because I don't own them physically, I forget about it because I'm reading them on Kindle, and so I just forget that I need to read it. But I do need to continue with the Queen of Renthia series. I don't want it to go too long in between those books, so hopefully I'll be able to just read the second and the third book in the next couple of months and then finish that trilogy. I really enjoyed the first book. It was a very like solid 4-star book, so I'm definitely interested to see where the series goes. And then I also plan to read Jade War. This is a buddy read that we're doing on the Shelf Space Discord, just as like quite a few of us want to read it, so we're going to buddy read it together. And this is the second book in the Jade City series, and so yeah, I'm very excited to continue on that series. I'm disappointed that the third book has been delayed to December. Very sad times, so sad. But yeah, I feel as though I've tried to space the books out. Like I read Jade City back in October, so I was thinking like May could be a good time to get to Jade War, so that I still have Jade City pretty fresh in my head, and then I can get to Jade War, and then hopefully that it will still be relatively fresh by the time Jade Legacy comes out, and that is my plan, hopefully. But yeah, I'm very excited to get to Jade War. Everyone says that Jade War is better than Jade City, so I'm hoping that proves the case for me. And then one that I want to start is Sleeping Giants. As you know, I am trying to do my deep dive into sci-fi. And so I am really trying to expand in my knowledge in this genre and like get to grips with it, get to know it better, get to see what I like in that genre. I am currently in the process of filming a deep dive into sci-fi vlog, so I'm reading 3 sci-fi books, and this is one of them. So I hope that I will love this book, and then I could just read the whole trilogy. This is all in like interview format about a girl that finds like an alien hand when she's a child, and then as an adult they start finding other parts of the alien's body. So yeah, I definitely want to give this one a try, and hopefully it's a series for me. Those are the series that I have finished recently, ones that I have been working on, and ones that I plan to work on and start in the next few months. Obviously I could start other series, like anything could happen. I don't know, like the City of Stairs one where I just like binged the whole thing back to back. That wasn't planned at all because I am a mood reader and I just read whatever like strikes my fancy. Like I look at my massive pile of books and I'm like, which one should I read today? So yeah, it's a bit tricky for me to like make concrete plans, but those are some of the plans. If I stick to them, who knows, but like hopefully that's what I'll be doing. And yeah, I could easily like be reading other things, so I was thinking like in, I don't know, roughly 3 months time I will check in and like see how I've been doing with these ones, see if I've like stuck to my plans, see how things are progressing, and this will just sort of keep me accountable for where I'm at with the series and like keep myself working through them as the year goes on. Let me know what series you've been working on this year, how your reading has been going. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!